Alright, so then threat number 3, again, is for tornadoes. Now, for tornadoes to form, you need this cape as well. Excuse me, I need to just quickly go back into my thing here to remind me of what I was going to talk about. Alright, so I showed you that the dew points are going to be high, so what does that mean? We can go back here. These dew points are high, they're up in the 60s and 70s. That means there's a lot of moisture in the atmosphere, relative humidity is going to be high. And then you have your strong CAPE values here. So that means you're going to be getting that updraft that's going to be close to the ground when you have a lot of surface heating. The other thing is temperatures, again, are going to be rising. They're going to be in the 70s, the 60s, 70s, and possibly 80s down further south. So that creates a lot of instability off the ground. And what you want for a tornado to form is you want the updraft of the supercell thunderstorms to be close to the surface. And with CAPE values like this, and with all this moisture moving in, warm air advecting up, that's going to be definitely possible. So these updrafts are going to be surface-based. And there's going to be a lot of wind shear as well. Values are going to be exceeding 40 to 50 knots, and that's pretty high for wind shear. Wind shear is at different levels of the atmosphere. Wind goes at different speeds and different directions. What that does is it helps for the updraft to start rotating. And if these updrafts are close to the ground, obviously that's going to lead to tornado development and damaging winds. So we've talked about 3 threats. We've talked about damaging winds from microbursts. We've talked about tornadoes, and we've talked about large hail due to the CAPE, which is causing rising air to rise high into the atmosphere. And the last threat, obviously, would be heavy rain. Take a look at these dew points once again. There's going to be a lot of heavy rain with this, because there's a lot of moisture coming in due to your low-level jet. Okay? So Wednesday, I pointed out the general area where it's going to be. We're going to go eastern Oklahoma, eastern Texas, northwestern Louisiana, western Arkansas, and then western Missouri, and maybe even southeastern Nebraska. Alright, so that's Wednesday. Thursday, now we're going to go to 84 here. This is on Thursday evening. Notice how far your low was back here during the day on Wednesday. Now it's all the way back into here. Thursday evening, we want to go back 1, though. We're going to go to 78. See, now it's... Alright, so by Thursday afternoon, your center of low pressure is going to be over southeastern Kansas. Your cold front's going to be extending back southwest. So your severe weather threat is on the southern and eastern part of that cold front. Southern and eastern part of this trough. Going back to the GFS. Your severe weather threat is always on the southern and eastern side of your disturbance that's moving through. Okay? If you want to look at your dew points, here they are. They're a little bit further east. Yesterday, it was all the way back in here. A little bit further west. Now it's a little bit further east, so your cold front has moved further east. Look at this dry air. The red and the... That's just absolutely no moisture whatsoever coming in. These dew points are still in the 60s and 70s. That's really high, so there's a lot of moisture out ahead of the cold front. And then your low-level jet. Again, it's not as prevalent as I'd like it to be, but there's still 40 to 50 knots in the lower levels, so that's still pretty good. And again, the low-level jet helps in advecting warm air and moisture in. But I think the main things that are going to be contributing to these storms are the shear, the CAPE, and the dew points, the moisture. Those are the main things. Those are all present. So even though the lower level jet is not as prevalent as I like it to be, I still think there's a pretty good threat for severe weather. But Thursday evening, this is your low level jet here. Your dew points are a little bit further east. Your low pressure is a little bit further east. And now we can look at your CAPE. Take a look at this. It's a little bit further east, but look at, we have more red and more orange extending back down, pretty much into the same areas as Wednesday. You know, now it's all of Missouri, all of Arkansas, all of Louisiana, eastern Texas, eastern Oklahoma, and eastern Kansas there. So this is your main threat on Thursday. And your CAPE values here are exceeding 3,000 joules per kilogram across eastern Kansas, Missouri, eastern Oklahoma, and northeastern Texas. So my worry for a tornado threat on Thursday and even Wednesday, I still think there's going to be tornadoes on Wednesday as well. But I think your main tornado threat on Thursday is going to be across this area here that I'm circling. Northeastern Texas, western Arkansas, all of Missouri pretty much, and then southeastern Kansas and Oklahoma, and the western areas here. The borders of these states, I'm really worried about some tornadoes there. Large hail, damaging winds from those microbursts that we talked about. The high CAPE values contribute to the lift in the atmosphere going up, rising air falling down quick as well. And then heavy rain with the low-level jet convecting moisture on in. High dew points. Alright, so your severe weather threat on Thursday is all of this area. And I have a map that I'm going to show you to go over this a little bit more. But I think your main tornado threat is going to be Thursday, because check out these CAPE values. Plus, this low is actually strengthening a little bit as you go into Thursday. And as it moves quicker, storms start to move quicker. They become more unstable. And thus, there's a higher tornado threat on Thursday, in my opinion. Friday, Friday, your area of low pressure is all the way up here. Your cold front is extending back down through here. Okay, now I want to show you how dynamics kind of fall apart on Friday. You still got the dew points in a narrow band extending up across the Ohio Valley, Indiana, across western West Virginia, Kentucky, Tennessee, down back across Mississippi, Alabama, southeastern Louisiana, New Orleans, you'd be in that, and then extending back across the panhandle of Florida, and then western Georgia, and then back up to the north across Ohio there. So it would be in this area where you have the most moisture coming in. These dew points are, again, 55, 60, and above. So I still think you're going to have a chance of severe weather in this area along this narrow line. Maybe not making it as far north as Ohio. Again, it's possible that you could get some strong thunderstorms up here. Are there going to be tornadoes on Friday? I doubt it, and I'll show you why. Now, your low-level jet does strengthen, but not in the right area. You see how most of your low-level winds are stronger up here, but not down here? That's a problem. That's a big problem. That's not going to aid severe thunderstorm development on Friday. That's reason number one. Reason number two, if you take a look at your CAPE, it's non-existent across Ohio. That's only values of like 200. Then 300 back into Kentucky. Now back down into Alabama, Mississippi, and southeastern Louisiana. This is going to be your primary severe weather threat into Friday. And then across northwestern Georgia and southern Kentucky. I think this area, New Orleans, you would be in that. Extending back up, Memphis or Nashville, whoever's in central and eastern Tennessee here, you'd be in that. I don't remember which city it is. But that would be your main severe weather threat on Friday. Again, I think large hail would be a threat. Definitely heavy rain if you're near the Gulf, because that low-level jet, even though it's up north, is going to be helping to usher in moisture there. And you have higher dew points. But shear probably won't be as prevalent. So I would definitely go with hail as a threat. Some damaging winds, and probably not as prevalent, though, as Thursday across the midwestern areas. And heavy rain and flooding definitely would be a threat there for Friday. Now, as this storm moves east, northeast into southern Canada over the weekend, you might have to worry about some thunderstorms along the eastern seaboard. Not sure how big that threat is going to be yet. The dynamics really tend to fall apart as you head further east, because temperatures aren't going to be as warm. You know, it's going to be 60s, 70s across the Midwest and the South, and as you get east, that just kind of falls apart. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. It's too far out to really tell what's going to happen, but I have Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday nailed down, I think. Alright? So last 5 minutes of my video here, we're going to look at the severe weather map that I have prepared.